This is the briefing for Friday, June 24th. Well, all week during the weekday briefings, I've been talking about, I guess at the beginning of the week, I talked about my feelings about the market and that I felt like we were in the process of a greater degree time and price counter trend rotation, which would take a little bit more time and would take more price in terms of the rally. Uh, the pause we had yesterday, or I guess I should say the last 3 days, right through here was very interesting, and it really did give us the opportunity for good trade location on a break. And in last night's briefing, I talked about being long above this 380 area in the spiders. As long as breadth was strong and volume was strong or increasing. And you can see on the open today, we broke right through, or I should say we blew through this 379 area. Volume was explosive on the move, and breadth was extremely strong through the whole day. And you can see that there was additional follow through, and then of course closing at the high of the day right at the 390 area in the spiders. Now, going forward, assuming that this is still a counter trend rotation, and if you look at this as a three-step counter trend rotation where the first leg would be equal to the third leg, that projects to 387.63, and we closed really at 390. So the third leg ended up being a little bit longer. So the question is this rally out of the breakout today, is it complete, or are we going up to test this 398 area, or are we going to see some type of rotation back down next week? Important, extremely important to the market on Monday is going to be 385 in the spiders. Now you can see there's a gap here, and then of course this long range bar. This is all very convictive buying that happened prior to the open that caused the gap. There were buy orders sitting there before the open, the day session. And then, of course, we got this continuation, a little pause during the day, and then going into the close. Closing at the high of the day suggests that the market wants to go higher in Monday's trading. It's very interesting to see breadth stay as strong as it was in today's trading. In the Qs, the same thing. We had a breakout right above the 387 area, drove straight through it on a shorter term chart. There was follow through on the 15-minute chart, as I showed in last night's briefing, and talked about how you always wanted to see follow through after the first 15 minutes, the pause, and then of course going right up into the 395 resistance area. That's an extremely important area for the Qs, and if it holds, then the next level of resistance in the Qs is going to come in right around the 303, 304 area right up here. So volume opened up strong in the Qs, as you can see, fell off during the pause, which is normal, and then of course began increasing as the market went into the close and came right up into this 304 area. So we had extremely strong breadth in the NASDAQ. So that basically says that this breakout move was a fairly strong move. Now the condition here is going to be what happens on Monday. Is there going to be follow through, or are we going to see some type of rotation? Now, once again, this is a gap, and this is impulsive buying that drove the Qs up. Now, this 290 area right through here, if that is traded through on Monday, that would be a negative for the market. Because this is convictive buying. This is just a lot of volume that came in and drove price this way. If those investors and traders do not defend that price, if they don't step back in and keep it from sliding, then you're going to see rotation back through this range. The same thing would be true with the spiders, which comes in right at the 385 area. If that doesn't hold, then you're going to see rotation back through this range and a potential test of this 373, 374 area, and then in the Qs it's going to be the 387 area. So basically, it was a strong day today from a price development perspective and from an internal perspective. So looking at where we are a little bit longer term on a daily basis, we've closed this gap on the spiders, got one more gap to go before we get to the 410 area. You can see this is net volume on the NYSE. Net volume was extremely strong. Volume ticked up on the spiders. There was total volume on the NYSE, and the NASDAQ exploded today. So we did see somewhat of an increase in volume on the spiders. The same thing with the NASDAQ. Total volume was explosive today. And then, of course, looks like the Qs really didn't have that much of a volume increase, but breadth was pretty substantial. Looking at the Russell, Russell had a tick up in volume as well today. It's now into this gap here, so the next level of really resistance is going to be right about the 180 area in the IWM. And then looking at where we are in terms of overbought and oversold, the NYSE is extremely overbought. The NASDAQ, interesting, a little bit of divergence here. As you can see, it's overbought and converging, so it appears that the NASDAQ is potentially beginning to lose some of its momentum. Net volume, look at the divergence in net volume on the NASDAQ as opposed to the NYSE. It exploded on the NYSE. This is net volume on the NYSE. So basically, we have a fairly strong day today. The question is going to be what happens with follow-through coming on Monday. And then these important areas, 385 in the spiders, and about the 290 area, the 290 area in the Qs. Those areas need to hold. And if they do not, then we'll likely see rotation back through this range, and this will be a three-step counter trend move that will be complete. On the other hand, if there is follow-through tomorrow, then upside resistance is the next level that we're looking at. And I'll cover those things on Monday in Monday's briefing. Have a great weekend.